Hello, I'm Svitek, 360 Creative Coach, and welcome to my vlog, where it's my pleasure and simultaneous mission to give you inspiration as well as takeaways through my creative journey, right? Where I recollect what I've been up to and highlight the various things that I'm working on and the obstacles that I'm overcoming. Now, before I dive in more fully, I would like to take this opportunity to invite you to subscribe if you haven't already. That way you get all the various episodes and lessons that I put out right when I put them out. Thank you if you just did, and appreciate you if you already were. It means a lot to me. So the biggest thing of last week that I did creatively was finishing up my script called In Search of Sunrise. This is the feature that I intend to do as my second feature. And this is the second official rewrite. And much like the first time, my writing partner and I, Jason Squamata, we came up with the outline, and then I had a first pass at the draft, right? And then he would go in and give his notes and kind of make the changes. And so same thing, as I said, to kind of recap quickly, if you haven't been following every vlog, I had a table read, got some great notes back, and based off those notes, we wanted to address things with the script. And so that's what Jason and I did. And so I had my first pass at it, right? And so first thing, it went from 116 pages to 97. Now, the goal was not to necessarily cut things down, but the goal was to make it tighter and better, right? And, it's interesting, I think there was... the core of what was there in the first draft remains, and a large kind of, the overall beats, but the specifics and how you get there, I think, are a lot more eloquently done and beautiful in this new version. Of course, that's me saying it. I've been working kind of in a bubble. I've not had feedback from anyone, including Jason. I just sent it off to him, and he's gonna, read it first, then give his notes, then we're gonna compare, because I kind of have some ideas in my mind of just overall basics as I was writing is this might not be fully fleshed out or fully great, but let me just kind of continue on. So we'll see and we'll compare, and then we'll create okay, what's the hit list, and then he'll go off and make the changes. That's how we're going to be working, right? After that, my intention is to have a second table read, ideally with all the people that participate in the first one, so that way they can see, that I in fact did implement their changes, and to see how it works for them. And we'll see kind of what happens after that. That'll probably most likely be in December. It's looking like right now, early December, just because of Thanksgiving and all that stuff, even though no one's really traveling or doing much. Nonetheless, it's great to give people a break. And then, the thing I really want to do, I actually ordered action figures. And it's like they're like these 5-inch tall, like a family set, meaning there's a grandfather, a grandmother, a husband, a wife, the kids, a baby. And the reason I got that is because it's a good wide range of age, and especially for In Search of Sunrise. And so I got 2 sets of them. And what I'm going to do is use those action figures to essentially almost film my own Lego-esque type movie, right? Where, I just put the camera and, I'm going to move stuff. And my intent is, as much as possible, to really film this script using those action figures. So that way I can edit it, I can put music, I could take the dialogue from the table read, right? And put it into the movie as if it's, the action figures. And so I can really see pacing and so forth, and also, heading into pre-production and so forth, people can really see how it looks, the actors as well as the behind-the-scenes people. And that way, ideally, we make it easier to film, because then, we're not having to come up with it on the spot. We have a very good groundwork, and essentially we're just going to be then replacing shots, of action figures to, the movie itself, right? And that's my intent. And so, we'll see. We'll see how that process goes. I am excited for it. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And, looking forward to kind of telling you how that journey goes. The other thing I've been kind of thinking about is, do I submit this script to writing competitions? And the reason for that you know, a lot of times it's for people that want to be writers and get notoriety and so forth. But for me, the reason why I'm on the fence is because like I would submit for the competition money. And most of these ones like on the higher end scale are like usually $1,000, like the creme de la creme, like the Nichols one, you can get like, I believe like $35,000 or something like that. But generally, then like I think the second tier one, right? I'm still kind of early on in the process of doing all this research, but like then there's like a second tier one that's not like as highly prestigious as the Nichols one, but still very good. You get like $10,000 as a grand prize, and so that's good money. But I don't want to, again, that's kind of the higher tier. Most of them on average, that are not like the creme de la creme, but top tier are like $1,000. But the thing is, I don't want to just, the entry fees usually are like $100. And so I don't want to just put in a lot of money for these script competitions to not get anything, right? The only reason, the reason I'm considering this is like, is this a way that I could fund the movie? And generally, I talked to some people, I'm going to do kind of more research, but like, ask what are the pros and cons of a script competition? And most of them so far, at least, have said it's to, make connections and kind of get notoriety that way, right? And for me, I know I can make the movie. I just need I need to like focus on getting the money down the line through, Kickstarter or something like that. And even then, it's not going to take that much money. Like only, I kind of did rough math with my friend Courtney, and we're thinking like anywhere between $20,000 to $35,000, which on an everyday level, that sounds like a lot, but for a movie, that's pennies. That's nothing. And especially for kind of as ambitious as I'm trying to be, it really is not that much. And so I feel like that's very doable. And so, I don't know. I don't think me entering some film, as of now, entering script competitions is necessarily the way to go to try to get that money, right? Now that Jason's going to be taking a pass at the script, I have the ability, as I said, to kind of focus more on pre-production. And so it is my intent to now start rounding up the various people that I think would be, that would love to, quote unquote, go into battle with. Now that depends on them. I'm going to see, like, are you interested in going on this journey with me to make this happen? Yes, my dogs certainly want to go on this journey with me. So, and of course they will get to do so. But, some people will say yes, some people will say no. I don't begrudge anyone that says no. That's up to them. But, what I thought about, and I'm like 99% there mentally, is I want to do this movie as an animated film in the vein of like Your Name, or like even like an Archer as a TV show, that kind of animation style. And the reason for this, because I think I've always wanted to do animation. I think it will lend itself nicely to what I'm trying to go for visually with this thing. And also, I think from, I want to utilize my friends and tap into them as actors. And the way the script is at the moment, that isn't always possible because they don't fit the role. But if they're just lending their voices, I know they can deliver through their voice acting. And so, we can draw in someone else, right? That's the beauty of it. And I think that'll be a lot of fun to do it that way. And so I'm really going to try to move forward with that. In that same way, I am kind of committing to watching various animated movies beyond just like the ones that I already know of, like Your Name, Spirited Away, and so forth. Kind of the ones that, let's say, are a little bit more hidden gems, and I'll report back on, that list as time goes by. But I'm really looking forward to it, and I think it'll be fun to do that. My next thing is to also, I have done a preliminary research into companies that do animation, and that'll be the kind of next phase. Now, if you in particular know and have any insight into this, by all means, God, please let me know. This is new territory for me. I'm a filmmaker, but I have not worked in animation. certainly not to this level. And so any sort of nudge in the right direction of how to go about this would be greatly, greatly appreciated. So that's kind of where I'm at in terms of the script, In Search of Sunrise. The other thing that, I was talking with my friend Ian, he was like, because I'm talking about, now that I've finished writing In Search of Sunrise, or at least for the time being, I always want to keep things going. And so I've started kind of outlining a new novel. And, he was like, oh, what happened to the one you finished, the other one? So for context, I have a novel that I've completed. It's a coming of age story set in Slovakia, and I've been querying it to publishers, and it just hasn't quite hit. That I listen nothing to read too much into there. As Brene Brown says, she could have filled a football stadium with the amount of rejection she got for her first book and decided to self-publish it, and now she's Brene Brown, and that's what kind of launched her career. So excuse me. So in that sense, I'm not really worried about it. And instead, just kind of continuing to move forward. I talked to other friends that are authors as well, and they said right now it is a bad time, just in general, to get a book published. Between COVID and other things, with the economy and so forth. And so I decided to kind of put things on pause for a minute, and in the meantime, I'll do research onto book publishers that might be a good fit, and then maybe in the springtime of 2021 I'll resume the process. And if something ultimately doesn't hit, I don't know, I'm not giving necessarily a deadline, but then I'll self-publish. We'll see, because at the end of the day, it's worth kind of putting the book out there, even if I self-publish. And by the way, self-publishing nowadays is a beautiful thing. It doesn't have the negative connotation that it once had, perhaps. So, but nonetheless, I'm going to give the book a shot, through traditional publishing. We'll see. But the good news is, that is an asset that's complete, and so it's it's okay to let it sit for a little bit. I'm not going to let it sit forever, but I will let it sit for a little bit, and we'll go from there. So in the meantime, I'm drafting an outline for a next novel. So that's what I'm doing. I don't want to give too many details quite yet. I think it's something that would be great as a film, maybe as a TV series, but I think I love, as much as I love the collaborative process of filmmaking, In Search of Sunrise is definitely going to take up my time in that way. And I also love novels, and so I think this is something that is beyond the scope of what I would be able to do, certainly for the next coming years, film-wise, because it would require a big budget. And so it's like, what? Why don't I exercise this muscle through the novel and tell the story that I want to tell, at this point in time. So, kind of working on that. And then, the last thing that I'm kind of working on is helping various friends. I've got an upcoming project this weekend to edit some multi-camera stuff. I'm also working with somebody on some podcasting stuff to help get them going. So it's been a lot of fun, in that sense, working on that stuff. The other kind of, what I'll end on, what's interesting to me is Idol, my first feature film, is doing the festival rounds, and we just did the Studio City Film Festival this weekend. And it's very interesting because even though it's making the rounds, in these film festivals, I have no insight into who's seeing this movie. I get some kind of, metrics and maybe some feedback every now and then, but obviously it's not the typical film festival experience that you get when, you see a crowd seeing your movie. And it's just very interesting to me in that sense. It is what it is, I don't know. It's a very disassociative kind of process, but I have to trust that people are enjoying the movie, or maybe they're not. I don't know. But at least they're reacting to it in one way, shape, or form. They are seeing it. And, ultimately it's about what can you control versus what you can't. I could have never predicted or chosen that my movie would come out during COVID, but it is and it has. And so it's like, how do I make the best of it? And so in that sense, that's what I'm trying to do. As are these film festivals, they would certainly love to have in-person viewing, but that's just not a reality. And so it's all online and things of that nature, and they're doing the best that they can. And so, I can't be mad at them. I can't be mad at anybody because there's no, A, no one's to blame, and B, what would that do? But it still, nonetheless, it is kind of like an interesting process, and who knows, maybe with In Search of Sunrise, when that gets made, and if that goes the film festival route, hopefully that'll be different. I can experience it like pre-COVID style. But yeah, just kind of interesting. I don't know how to express it, but it's kind of been on my mind of like, my movie's been in a bunch of film festivals, and okay, cool. Hasn't really changed things for me in the sense of like, because obviously I'm not having to go anywhere. I'm not, there's no Q&A. I've done some interviews and things like that, but I'm in the comfort of my home, So I don't know. I try not to think about it. Is that good? Is that bad? It is the way it is. I don't know. That's what I have to offer. Anyway, that's kind of what I've been up to. In some sense, a slower week, although a big week, because when you finish a script, like it's a good feeling. It really is. So, very proud of myself in that way. And I'm going to kind of continue to keep you updated on things as things continue. If you have any questions about any of the stuff that I talked about, by all means, ask away. Or you can ask about anything else, Or if you want to add your 2 cents, by all means, please share, whether down in the comment section below, or hit me up on social media, @Svitek, and let's talk. I would love that. Also, if you think someone would benefit from this episode or any of the content that I put out, by all means, share it with them. I certainly would appreciate it, and I appreciate you. Hope to see you next time.